Hello, once again, I'm Kevin Turner from Real Estate Talk, and on this video we're going to be looking at how real estate has changed. And joining me, someone who should know, he's been in a family business for about 75 years, Russel Matthews from Matthews Real Estate in Brisbane. Russell, thanks for your time.
No worries, Kevin. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Now, your business, your agency, or your business, your family business, has been going for 75 years. There's got to be a lot of difference that you've and your family have noticed over those 75 years in the way agents are working now and the way they used to work.
We certainly have, yeah. And me, myself, personally, I've been in the business for over 20 years. And it's changed a lot with internet, mainly computers, and just generally our lifestyle has changed a lot because of that, I think.
Yeah, well, of course, agents used to be the gatekeepers of all that information, you know, the information that's now so freely available through RP data and providers like that. That's certainly changed the game for agents. They used to have a lot of power.
That's right. Buyers are very savvy these days. They know prices probably just as well as we do if they've been looking for long enough. I find that, with RP data, Price Finder, all of these different sites that they've got access to these days, they know exactly what's going on, and they know exactly what the prices are for properties, and they use it all the time. They tell me the place around the corner sold for $340, and it was better than this one, and so we're competing against that now a little bit.
So I guess it comes down, Russell, doesn't it, to agents providing better levels of service. What do you do in your agency to make sure that that's actually happening, and how effective is it?
We have a database, which is good. People like that. We put them on a database, and when we get a property for sale, just before we put it on the net, we let them all know about it. People seem to appreciate that, especially on a strong market where they're competing with each other. Other things, a personal phone call goes a long way as well. If you know you've got a red-hot buyer, which is what I used to do going back 20 years, is I would sit on the phone for hours when we got a new listing and ring everybody up and tell them about it. These days, it's just a simple couple of clicks on the computer, and we've got it out to about 1,000 people.
Do you find that even in recent times that clients' expectations, both buyers and sellers, have changed of their agent, and how have they changed?
Definitely. Look, we used to get a lot of walk-ins. We had people just coming into the office that had no idea what was for sale. Any way they could find out what was for sale was off the newspapers, generally speaking, or signs. We relied on newspaper heavily. In fact, we used to have to take a photograph of a property and then get that photograph developed, put the wording for the ad underneath the photograph, and actually hand deliver it to the newspapers going back 20 years. These days you do it all on computer, but that was how we relied on getting things out to people, was that, or them coming into our office or us calling them. These days I rarely call anybody. In fact, almost everything is done via email, and I can get to people a lot quicker via email than I can on the phone. And
that's it's a very interesting point you make there about how real estate agents work with their suppliers. You've got to be very careful that you don't do the same thing with your buyers and sellers. In other words, rely too much on that email and texting. You just touched on earlier the fact that the power of the phone call and an agent talking to a buyer and seller that way.
Yeah, and that personal touch is important. I think you have to have it, and you lose a lot of that these days because there's so much done on email. Like the signing is often done via email these days. You don't see the person in person. They don't come into the office, so you don't meet them at the house or meet them at their house. Same with the sellers. Quite often you don't catch up with them in any way other than email, and if that's the case, then you do lose that personal touch. So you do have to find a way of keeping it personal. There's been houses that I've never even met the buyers before. They've been overseas buyers, and it's been a buyer's agent that I've dealt with. Unfortunately, that's the way technology works, but the beauty of it is someone can be overseas and buy a property in Australia from overseas without leaving.
Russell, apart from sales, there are other aspects of agency, of course, rentals and body corporate. How have those changed in recent times?
Yeah, quite a lot actually. When I first started in the office here back in the 90s, I used to work in body corporate to start with, and I did a little bit of rentals. And in the body corporate, we had to actually handwrite all the receipts. Every receipt that came, every bit of money that came in was either brought into our office or it was sent in by cheque or money order. And I had to handwrite every receipt and then post out the receipts and actually physically go down to the banks and deposit the money into the banks and the cheques into the banks every day. These days it's all done by a computer. Everyone does BPay. They have, they can do BPay or they can take it to the post office. There's a number of ways they can do it, but no one ever comes into our office and pays anymore. In fact, I don't think they can anymore. So it's changed significantly that way. Rentals, similar. People used to always come in and pay rent and they pay cash. These days it's all done via the computer. You don't see the tenants as often as well. So again, with that technology, you do lose a little bit of that personal contact.
Russell, great talking to you. Thank you for your time. All the best in the future as well. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries, Kevin. Thanks very much.